Imagine heading out into the vast, grey expanse of the North Sea, a place of powerful waves and hidden depths. You wouldn't expect to find what looks like giant building blocks being carefully lowered into the water. But off the coast of Tyne and Wear, that's exactly what marine conservationists have been doing. These aren't just any blocks. They are specialised oyster reef cubes, and they represent a brilliant new strategy in our mission to bring back one of the ocean's most important creatures. This project, unfolding right now in October 2025, is the first time we've seen this kind of technology used on such a large scale here in the UK, marking a pivotal moment for marine restoration. So, what exactly are these strange underwater structures? Each of the 20 cubes is crafted from a special material called marinecrete, a unique kind of concrete designed to withstand the harsh, salty environment of the sea. Weighing a colossal 6 tons combined, they act as heavy anchors or ballasts, securing their precious cargo to the seabed. Their surfaces are not smooth, but are deliberately engraved with intricate textures. These patterns mimic the natural nooks and crannies of a wild reef, giving tiny marine organisms a place to grip and call home. It's a clever piece of biomimicry, learning from nature's own designs to give it a helping hand. But the design goes even further. Each cube is built with large, circular openings like portholes on a submarine. These aren't just for show, they are vital shelters. When the powerful North Sea storms roll in, these openings provide a safe haven for fish, crabs, and other small creatures, protecting them from the turbulent currents. The cubes are essentially becoming instant storm-proof homes on the seabed, by placing these structures 1.8 kilometres from the coast. Conservationists from the Zoological Society of London and Groundwork are creating a stable foundation where a new, thriving ecosystem can begin to take root, shielded from the worst of the weather. This initiative is a direct response to lessons learned from past efforts. In October 2023, a project released thousands of oysters and tons of shell material, known as culch, onto the seabed. However, the ferocious power of Storm Babet later that year scattered much of this hard work across the ocean floor. It was a tough lesson, but an important one. It showed us that simply placing oysters out in the open wasn't enough. They needed something more robust, something permanent that could withstand the full force of nature. These new, heavyweight cubes are the answer, engineered for resilience and designed to give our native oysters their best possible chance of survival. You might wonder why we are going to all this trouble for the humble oyster. Well, these creatures are far more than just a seafood delicacy. They are true ecosystem engineers. An adult native European oyster is a natural water filter of incredible power. Every single day, just one oyster can pump and clean around 200 litres of seawater. That's like having a tiny, living purification plant working tirelessly on the seabed. By drawing in water to feed on plankton, they also remove sediments and pollutants, making the water clearer and healthier for all marine life. A thriving oyster reef is like the ocean's liver, constantly working to improve its environment. The benefits don't stop at clean water. As oysters grow, they fuse together, creating complex, three-dimensional structures that rise from the seafloor. These reefs become bustling underwater cities, providing critical habitat for a huge diversity of species. The nooks and crannies of an oyster reef offer protection for juvenile fish, giving them a safe place to grow away from predators. Crabs, shrimps, and sea snails find food and shelter within these intricate structures. In essence, by bringing back the oysters, we are not just restoring one species, we are laying the foundation for an entire community of marine animals to flourish, boosting the biodiversity of the entire area. Sadly, these incredible habitats have all but vanished from our waters. Since the 1800s, the UK has lost over 95% of its native oyster reefs. In the North Sea, they are considered functionally extinct. This catastrophic decline was caused by a perfect storm of factors. Decades of over-harvesting depleted the populations to a critical level. At the same time, their habitats were destroyed by pollution, and they were hit by diseases, most notably a devastating parasite called Bonamia austrae. This loss has had a profound impact, leaving our coastal waters less resilient, less diverse, and far murkier than they once were. This new project aims to turn that tide. By providing a secure and stable new home for the oysters, we give them a fighting chance to re-establish themselves and start their important work once more. As the oysters on the cubes begin to reproduce, their larvae will drift on the currents and settle nearby, gradually expanding the reef. The 40 tons of repurposed scallop shells scattered around the cubes will provide the perfect landing spots for these young oysters, known as spat. Over time, what begins as a small man-made intervention could grow into a self-sustaining natural reef, bringing its life-giving benefits back to the North Sea. This incredible marine revival wasn't accomplished by scientists alone. It was powered by the passion and dedication of local people. Before the 4,000 mature oysters could be placed on their new homes, they needed to be meticulously prepared. An army of 90 volunteers from the local community stepped up for this crucial task. They carefully cleaned each and every oyster, scrubbing the shells to remove any potential non-native species or parasites. This step was absolutely vital to ensure that only native species were being introduced, protecting the local ecosystem from any unwanted invaders. It's a perfect example of how conservation success relies on careful, detailed work. Once the oysters were cleaned and ready, another team of 100 volunteers got to work on the next critical stage attachment. Using a specialist marine-safe reef glue, they painstakingly fixed each individual oyster onto the textured surfaces of the cubes. It was a delicate and precise operation, ensuring the oysters were secure enough to withstand their journey to the seabed and the powerful currents they would face. This hands-on involvement didn't just get the job done. It forged a powerful connection between the local community and the marine environment on their doorstep. These volunteers became true guardians of the new reef before it even touched the water. The spirit of collaboration extends far beyond the volunteers. This entire 5-year conservation initiative is part of the Stronger Shores Partnership, an ambitious project led by South Tyneside Council. It brings together experts, local authorities, and community groups, all united by a common goal. The funding for this innovative work comes from the Environment Department, which is keen to support new ideas that can help protect our coastlines from flooding and the impacts of climate change. Oyster reefs can actually help absorb wave energy, providing a natural defense for the coast, so this project benefits both people and wildlife. This collaborative approach is being mirrored in other parts of Europe. In the Netherlands, a different but equally exciting project is underway in the port of Rotterdam. There, a consortium of partners is pioneering a remote setting method, cultivating oyster larvae in shipping containers before deploying them on rocks at sea. Meanwhile, in Belgium, engineers are growing young oysters on clay bricks in labs before transporting them offshore. All these projects, from Tyne and Wear to Rotterdam, show a growing international movement dedicated to bringing our oceans back to life, sharing knowledge and working together for a healthier marine future. The deployment of these oyster reef cubes marks a profound shift in our approach to marine conservation. For too long, we have treated the symptoms of ocean decline. This project, however, tackles the root of the problem by actively rebuilding a lost habitat from the ground up. The failure of the 2023 deployment in the face of Storm Babet was not a defeat but a crucial learning opportunity. It forced us to innovate and to think not just about what we put into the sea, but how we can ensure it stays there. These robust, storm-proof cubes are a testament to that learning, representing a new era of proactive and resilient restoration. The hope is that these 20 cubes are just the beginning. They are the seeds from which a much larger, wilder seascape can grow. As the first generation of oysters thrives and reproduces, they will release millions of tiny larvae into the water. These will settle on the surrounding seabed, particularly on the culch that was deployed with them, and begin to form a natural, expanding reef. Over decades, this small patch could transform a barren section of the North Sea floor into a dynamic and complex ecosystem, teeming with life. It's a long-term vision, but one that offers incredible promise for the future of our oceans. Projects like this have far-reaching benefits that extend well beyond the immediate area. Healthier marine ecosystems are more resilient to the impacts of climate change. The cleaner water and increased biodiversity supported by oyster reefs can help fish stocks recover, which in turn supports local fishing communities and our own food security. Furthermore, these natural habitats are incredibly efficient at capturing and storing carbon, playing a small but important role in the global fight against climate change. By restoring nature, we are ultimately helping to restore balance to our entire planet. Ultimately, the story of the North Sea oyster cubes is one of hope and ingenuity. It shows that even in the face of significant environmental challenges, we have the capacity to make a real positive difference. It proves that by combining scientific knowledge, engineering innovation, and the power of community action, we can begin to heal the damage that has been done. As we watch and wait for this new reef to take hold, it stands as a powerful symbol of our commitment to a future where our seas are not just surviving, but are once again wild, clean, and full of life.